Hi, my name is Kim Catching, and I'm here with Adrian Springs for my service learning project. And we're discussing her foundation that she's co-founded with her husband, Ron Springs, and the foundation is the Ron Springs Gift for Life Foundation. He established this foundation after a long battle with kidney disease, and before he died, he wanted to promote awareness and to provide access to donor-oriented services. During Ron's battle with kidney disease, he vowed to help others who suffered from this disease. His commitment to children led him to establish the foundation. I've known Ron and his family for over 30 years, so this foundation is very personal to me. His wife is a great friend, and I witnessed her family continue his efforts to provide awareness and promote education for the prevention of kidney disease. What I get out of volunteering for this foundation is a sense of pride and fulfillment. I also feel that Ron would be happy knowing that I support his efforts and that I am proud to serve. I love being a part of something so dear to my heart. My grandfather and father suffered from diabetes, and there's a big chance that I could develop the disease. My involvement is for my friend, the community, and my family, and I want to be an example to my children by giving back and paying it forward. I have learned that serving others is very fulfilling. My friend is strong and an inspiration to me. Her strength and dedication inspires me. With that said, I will go over our discussion about a need that we identified for her board of directors and volunteers of the foundation. Our discussion led us to discovering one main topic that we felt needed to be addressed from a human resource standpoint. The main topic that came up dealt with ethics. We asked the question, what are the ethical issues, and what ethical code of conduct should her board of directors follow? My suggestion, after looking over how compensation and ethical issues affect a nonprofit organization, was to communicate a code of ethics to the board and volunteers. They need to know about ethics and accountability in the nonprofit sector, which is very important. America's charitable nonprofits rely on the public trust to do their work. That is why it is so important that charitable nonprofit foundations continuously earn the public's trust through their commitment to ethical principles. If only one donor loses confidence in a charitable nonprofit organization because the nonprofit behaves unethically, that's one too many. So a few things that we need to address are what demonstrates accountability and transparency in a charitable nonprofit. And a few things are that accountability starts with a written conflict of interest policy, and transparency starts with the information a charitable nonprofit posts on its website. And one of the things that would be good for the foundation is to learn what information the IRS requires a nonprofit to make available to the public. State laws may independently require nonprofits to disclose various documents to the public, and it also varies from state to state, and most states host searchable databases where the public can find documents filed by nonprofits in that state. There are concrete examples on the websites and resources that they can use to cultivate a culture of accountability and transparency. There are some really good resources on there and some really good internal controls for nonprofits. An ethics and accountability code for the nonprofit sector offers many state associations of nonprofits across the country equipped nonprofits with proven practices for effective nonprofit governance. Now, does the foundation have a code of ethics? At this point, no. But what we found is that it's useful to adopt a set of principles to guide a nonprofit organization decision-making and activities, as well as the behaviors for the volunteers and board members. These principles might be called nonprofit statement of values or code of conduct. Honesty, integrity, transparency, confidentiality, and equity are each examples of values that can be expressed in the code of ethics. The purpose of adopting such a statement formally is to provide the employees, volunteers, and board members with guidelines for making ethical choices and ensure that there is accountability for their choices. When board members of a charitable nonprofit adopt a code of ethics, they are expressing their commitment to ethical behavior. And such a commitment goes a long way in earning the public's trust. One of the things that, one of the areas that we discussed was that some of the board members might not know what's ethical and what's not. So we wanted to make sure that in communicating all of these things to the board, that they understood that what was right and what was wrong, and what, you know, the foundation stood for, and what it's gonna, you know, what its values and ethics would be going forward. Anyway, the statement of values or code of ethics have always been an issue for some nonprofit organizations, because I don't think people understand the true value of creating their own statements and, you know, reflecting their particular charitable nonprofit unique mission and their activities and interactions with clients, volunteers, and the public. Whatever the crafting and of the written document, it articulates the core beliefs of the charitable nonprofit that can be useful for practical as well as ethical reasons. Having a code helps recruit board members, retain donors, and of course ensure that all transactions are aligned with the values of the organizations. Many organizations post their statements of values or code of ethics on their websites so that they are fully transparent to the public, and it demonstrates their organization's commitment to accountability. Now, why is ethical leadership so significant in the nonprofit sector? And Adrian and I were talking, and we believe that nonprofit organizations are public benefit corporations, and the purpose of their existence is to benefit the public as opposed to the private interest of their board members. Some board members might get the idea that they are, you know, in it for themselves, and they might want to go out and represent the foundation without consideration of what's right and what's wrong. The mission of a charitable nonprofit expresses a particular way that the organization will fulfill its public benefit purpose. Board members are often referred to as trustees, which reinforces the concept that the assets of a nonprofit are entrusted to the oversight of its board members, who have a legal duty to ensure that the nonprofit uses those assets to fulfill its public benefit mission. It is one thing to exist for the benefit of the public. It is another to earn the public's trust through ethical leadership and responsible practices. The good will earned by accountability and transparent nonprofits is one of, if not the most important, of the assets. Donors will give to organizations they trust, and they will they will give to the organizations that they trust to use their contributions wisely. Volunteers will invest their time because they can trust a non-profit to act ethically. Clients and consumers will return to a nonprofit for services and recommend the nonprofit to others. When the nonprofit has shown it's accountable for its actions, transparent in its financial dealings, and responsive when concerns come to the nonprofit's attention, then the trust is there for the public. Some of the laws that affect the nonprofit ethics and accountability is, made forth by the IRS, require that the charitable nonprofits operate for public benefit to prominent law primarily affecting public traded companies. And one of the laws that affects a nonprofit organization is the Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002. It includes two provisions that apply to nonprofits: a prohibition against destruction of documents that are tied to a criminal investigation, and prohibition of retaliation against whistleblowers. As a result of the act, most nonprofits are now aware of the best practices of having a board-approved whistleblower protection policy and a document retention destruction policy. We have established that an ethical code of conduct seems fitting for this foundation, and because it has received a lot of support and advertising, we are suggesting that the establishing of an ethical code of conduct was well received by the board of the members of the board. Adrian is very happy with the idea that we go forth with this project, and we are going to make sure that we establish a really strong code of ethics that the members can follow and that they believe in and can share with the volunteers. So with that, we are going to end this project.